I'll make you as admin. Okay, so now you're the host. You can start sharing, Shravana. Okay, first what we have to do, guys, when we want to create a VPC, first what we have to do?
First, we have to create VPC. After that, subnet.
So first we have to create a VPC. So VPC, we can directly subnets VPC, everything we can together using that VPC launch VPC wizard. But let's not do that. Let's do step by step. Then finally we'll see that easy way also. But we don't know initially, right? Let's do one by one because instead of ready-made, right? Let's implement it from scratch. So you will get a good idea. Then we'll see how to use that ready-made launch wizard also. Okay, create a VPC. But give me a second, I'll give the VPC ranging. Let's go with a different example. I'll give you one example. I'll give the CADR range for both all subnets and VPC. Click on VPC, create VPC. Give all the details other than CADR range, I'll give you. Okay, so I'll give the VPC range. So it is 10.30.0.0/16. Okay, so that is a CADR range. 1 second. Okay, fine. That is fine. So that is a CADR range, right? We are going to create a VPC. It will give 16, not 60. Can you give 32 itself is a last bit? You are giving 60.
Yeah, I got doubt.
Okay. So maximum there you can give is 32. And one interview question, and for knowledge purpose also, if you want to give a single IP address, right? In not only here we will not give CADR range, will not give single IP address, but anywhere, if you want to represent a single IP address with this range, right? You have to give 32 there. 10.30.0.0/32 means that single IP address. 10.30.0.0. That is a single IP address we can give. 32 means /32 means what? That's single IP address. Understood, guys? Okay. And all the IP addresses. So this is the range, right? 16 means /16 means 32 minus 16 equal to 16 to power 16. That formula is there, right? Okay. You need to remember that formula also. I'll give you that. So easy calculation. So that means a range. I want to allow all the IP addresses. No range, nothing. Any IP address, right? For that you have to mention 0.0.0.0/0 means all 4 zeros. All zeros, right? It means any IP address, no range. Understood? Single IP address, any IP address. Have you understood, guys? /32 if you give, it is a single IP address. All zeros if you give, it is any IP address. Okay, remember those two. Understood? Okay. So if you so VPC wizard are here. If you go to this second option, here we are going to create VPC only. If you give VPC, subnets, etc., all together we can create. But let's not do that. That we'll see later. First, let's see VPC only. Okay, you gave a CADR range. Come down slowly. So that CADR manual input, right? So no VP6 we need, right? VP6 we you know, right? IPv6 how it looks, that we don't need. tenancy. Yesterday I explained default tenancy means we'll get a default shared infrastructure. If you give dedicated there, we'll get a different means dedicated configuration, means that hard disk infrastructure and all. For that, the AWS will charge extra tax. I'm not going to give. So next, click on create VPC. Then our VPC is created. Now, what else? Wait. So what and all created with this VPC? When we created a VPC, automatically what else got created along with this VPC?
Route table,
One route table.
NACL, security.
Yeah, correct. One route table. Yeah, here itself in the screen you can see that main route table, right? That is the main route table. So the default route table of the VPC. So in the third section, DNS host, then main route tables it is showing. Okay, right side. Third section. Okay, so that's this. There is the right main route table. In the fourth section, you can see that main NACL, right? So NACL, network access control list, right? Network ACL it is showing, network NACL, that is right. So it has been created, and a security group will be there. One default security group has been created. Now I want to create a subnet. So what is the range we gave for this? 10.30.0.0, right? So now let's create a subnet for this. Okay. But one more thing before creating a subnet. Okay, we just created an VPC, right? We created a VPC. Fine. For that, we need to create subnets because I want to split that into different subnets, smaller networks I want to create. Okay, that is fine. So before that, what we will do is let's add a internet gateway. Why we want to add an internet gateway? Why? Because now the network, whatever we created,
Private.
Is a private because it don't have internet gateway. It is a private VPC. I want to make it as a public VPC. So what to do that? Simple, right? You do it. You guys help her. So this internet gateway belongs to default VPC. So let's create one. Okay. Create it.
Create.
Is that enough?
No, we need to attach.
Yeah, what is the state of that VPC is detached. State is detached. So we need to attach it. So go on attach.
Can I attach?
Yeah, yes. Which VPC?
My VPC.
Okay, that is the custom VPC we created, right? So the other one VPC can have only one internet gateway. One internet gateway can be attached to only one VPC. So there are two VPCs, but already one VPC has an internet gateway. So that is the reason it is showing only the one VPC which don't have internet gateway. So select that and attach it. Done. Okay. Now we created a internet gateway as well. Fine. Attached it to VPC. Now so internet gateway only one, but route tables can be multiple. Now when we created a VPC, along with that, a route table has been created. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
So now, as I want to make my VPC public VPC, I created an internet gateway and attached that internet gateway to my VPC. Is that enough to make my VPC public?
We need to also attach route table.
Attach route table illa. We need to make a change in route table. So the request goes from internet gateway to route table to subnet instances, right? So we created a VPC, attached a internet gateway, but we need to make a connection between route table and internet gateway, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the rules in route table is called as routes. So go and add the route. So here there are two route tables. Which one belongs to default VPC? Which one which one is related to default VPC, and which one is related to our custom VPC?
First one is the custom VPC.
So what is the name of the VPC you gave, Shravani? I didn't observe that. My VPC, yeah?
My VPC.
Okay. So first one, how you are saying the first one? First one is, yeah.
VPC name is available there.
Yeah, under VPC section, the name is showing as my VPC, right? If you scroll right. So there under VPC section, it is showing the ID of the VPC and my VPC, right? So that is the one. So attach it. Is that how we are going to edit routes? We can go, but come here, scroll on, select that, leave it, come on, leave it, click there. There is something called as routes on the bottom. Bottom ante akkada.
Bottom routes.
Routes, edit routes, or else in the actions itself, there will be one option called as routes. You can select that. So now we should not modify the rule. We should not modify the rule. Why? Because that rule, right? Destination 10.10.30.0.0/16. What is that?
CIDR range.
CIDR range of what? Of what? CIDR range of what?
VPC.
The VPC. VPC means, it means all the IP addresses within the range. So if you create any instance in the VPC, that instance is going to get an IP address within this range. Yes or no, guys?
Yes.
So from that, if any request, all right, within that IP range can make a communication with the target, local. Target is local, right? Within internally, any IP addresses within this range, any two IP addresses within this range can talk to each other directly. That is a default rule. You have to leave it. If you remove this, what will happen is internal instances cannot contact each other. So can you try to remove that local word there? Just type, see, it is showing instance, means you want to make and communicate into only one instance. Network interface, something it is showing, load balancer and local. So we have to keep it as local because the default communication is possible. We need to make it, right? Select it, that local, leave it. Now this is for internal communication within the VPC. One instance want to talk to other instance within the VPC. This rule is fine, but I want to make the communication to outside the world. So I want to add one more rule, that is called as one more route. Add it in the route table. One rule is called as route, add route. So here, do you know what is, see, you have a VPC. Inside your VPC, you have an instance. Do you know from where the request is going to come? Which IP address? Either I may access that instance, you may access, someone from US, someone from London, someone from Dubai, from anywhere can access. Do you know what is going to be the IP address?
No.
So what IP address you have to add there? Any IP address. Any IP address means what?
0.0.0/0.
Yeah. Okay, select that 0.0.0.0/0. So that is the one. So when you are trying to add, sometimes there will be a space. You make sure the space is not there before the 0 or at the end of the 0 when you type it up, right? So make sure that is not there, else you will get into trouble and again you will ping me, sir, it is not working. Okay, so request can come from anywhere. So when the request comes from anywhere, what is going to be the target here now? What you have to select in the targets? You list there. So what is going to be your target here? So internet gateway. The request can come from any source, any IP address, right? Anywhere it can come or go. And the target here is, right, who is going to give that request is internet gateway. Select that. So which internet gateway? This is the only one, IGW you gave, right? That is only, there are two internet gateways available. One internet gateway is already used by default VPC. So the only one is remaining. It is showing only that. You select that and save the changes. Done. So you remember this will be asked in interviews as well. How to attach an internet gateway to a route VPC. So you will tell, create an internet gateway, attach it. Very simple. In written exams also they'll ask. That is not enough. What you have to do? You have to make change in route table as well and add that internet gateway. Okay, two things: create and attach a internet gateway and modify and add it in a route table. Understood, guys? So done. VPC is done. VPC creation, internet gateway is done. Now I want to create a subnet. I want to create a subnet. One more thing. The route table is there, right? Just go to that route tables. Just list it. Here on the top left, VPC route tables are there, right? Just click on that. And click on them. You name this route table as, right? And then route table, whatever you are seeing, right? You name it as private route table something. The public route table. It is public route table. Sorry. We made it as internet connection outside world, right? So it is going to be a public route table. Okay. Now let's create one more route table. Let's create one more route table. So at the top, there is something. No, I'm not saying about one more route table itself. A VPC can have multiple route tables.
Yes.
Yes, right? How can you make subnet as a public or private? Who will decide whether the subnet is a public or private?
Route table.
Route table.
Route table. How can you say how can you say a subnet as a public?
It is connected to internet.
Route table is attached to
The route table,
gateway.
the route table which is associated with the subnet. If it is connected to the route table, internet gateway, and it is public. So the public route table, whatever we have now, right? So if we attach any subnets to that route table, as the route table is attached to internet gateway, those subnets are going to become as public subnets. I want to create private subnet also here. So in that case, if I attach any subnets to this route table, they also become public. I don't want that. So for private subnets, I want to create a different route table. Create one more. Okay, right. Now you are going to create one more route table, private route table. Here you give this VPC. Okay, select that. Scroll down. Create. Name it as private route table, private RT something. Okay, so now give same name, RT or route table, same pattern you follow, so it looks good also. So now tell me one thing, this custom VPC or my VPC has how many route tables?
Two.
Two route tables. How you know those two are related to that my VPC is? When you scroll right side in the VPC, it will show under VP which my VPC and all. But in the two route tables, one is a default one is a custom one. Means we created one is a default one. How you know which is default? How you know which is the default? Scroll little right, little bit. Here VPC section, it is showing there are that 6AD0. That is a VPC. So these two route tables belongs to that VPC. How you know which is default is main is there, right? Main. Just before that VPC section, there is one more section called as main, right? Under that main, whatever you see, yes, main as yes, right? That is the default VPC. You observe the first one has main as yes, the last one has no. So those two belongs to same VPC. It is showing as yes, right? That is a default route table. Sorry, sorry for the terminology, right? I used wrong terminology, I guess. So main yes means default route table. Main equal to no means custom route table. Understood? Yes or no? So if I don't attach a subnet to any route table, which route table it is going to use in that VPC? Right? Main route table. Main route table, right? That main route table, not private or public. I can make that as private and this as public. So remember one thing, always it is better to make default or the main route table as a private route table. This is a best practice interview question. So now we made it as a public. Is that a correct approach? No, that is doable. I'm not saying it is impossible. It is possible, but good approach, better approach. I'm saying to make default route table as a private route table. Why? Tell me. Security is a main thing. For your instances, you need to provide a security. Now, you created a subnet. You forgot to add it to a route table. Then which route table it is going to use? Default route table. When you make it as a public, right? Everyone can access this. Hackers, or not only that, users, whoever wants, they can easily access this, right? So it is not a good approach. So change reverse. So wantedly I did this. So now change the naming also, change the rules also. Now change that and make it as public. So you understood? All right. Now, is that enough? Just changing the name is enough. Is that enough, guys?
No.
Then what to do? In the default one, no, we need to change the route table. What do we need to change? Huh? Internet gateway, you added, right? Go and delete that. Why you are thinking, guys? Private route table, there only you select it. Select it, go to routes. There only click edit routes, whatever it is. Under actions also you can. So now here delete that, remove that rule of internet gateway. Save it. So now what you can, okay, leave it. That's done. Now go to your other route table, right, which you made as a public now, right? The custom route table. There you add internet gateway. Understood? Is it confused? I thought like if you do it twice, you'll not forget, because that is important. Go and add. What guys, have you understood or not?
It is little confusing, sir.
ఏం కన్ఫ్యూజన్ అమ్మా, నీ దగ్గర పబ్లిక్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ఉంది, ప్రైవేట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ఉంది అంటే, సారీ అది వదిలే, పబ్లిక్ పక్కన పెట్టు. ఫస్ట్ నీ దగ్గర ఒక విపిసిలో ఒక డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ఉంటుందా? నేను కస్టమ్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కూడా క్రియేట్ చేయొచ్చా?
చేయొచ్చు.
ఇప్పుడు నేను ఆ విపిసిలో సబ్నెట్స్ క్రియేట్ చేయొచ్చా? ఆ విపిసిని సబ్నెట్స్ గా డివైడ్ చేయొచ్చా?
చేయొచ్చు.
ఇప్పుడు ఆ సబ్నెట్స్ ని నేను ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్ చేయకపోతే ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ వాడుకుంటాయి? అవి ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ యూజ్ చేసుకుంటాయి?
డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ వాడుకుంటాయి.
సో ఇప్పుడు ఆ విపిసిలో ఎన్ని రౌట్ టేబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి? రెండు ఉన్నాయి, ఒకటి డిఫాల్ట్, ఒకటి కస్టమ్, అవునా? సో సబ్నెట్స్
Yes,
ఏ
sir.
రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్ అయిపోతే డిఫాల్ట్ వాడుకుంటాయి. ఓకే ఫైన్. ఇప్పుడు ఏమైంది, నా దగ్గర కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంది. డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ని పబ్లిక్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ చేయాలా, కస్టమ్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ని పబ్లిక్ చేయాలా, దేన్ని ప్రైవేట్ చేయాలి, దేన్ని పబ్లిక్ చేయాలి, కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంది. సో అప్పుడు ఏం చేస్తాను, కస్టమ్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ని పబ్లిక్ తీసుకుంటే, సారీ కస్టమ్ది కాదు, డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్. సో ఇప్పుడు నాకు రెండు రౌట్ టేబుల్స్ ఉన్నాయి, రెండిట్లో కన్ఫ్యూజన్ నాకు, దేన్ని పబ్లిక్ గా తీసుకోవాలి, దేన్ని ప్రైవేట్ గా తీసుకోవాలి. ఎందుకంటే నాకు 2 సబ్నెట్స్ పబ్లిక్ సబ్నెట్స్, 2 సబ్నెట్స్ ప్రైవేట్ సబ్నెట్స్ కావాలి. సో పబ్లిక్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి 2 పబ్లిక్ సబ్నెట్స్ అటాచ్ చేస్తా, ప్రైవేట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి ప్రైవేట్ సబ్నెట్స్ అటాచ్ చేస్తా. బట్ ఇన్ కేస్ ఏ సబ్నెట్ ని ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్, ఒక సబ్నెట్ ని ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్ చేయకపోతే డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ వాడుకుంటది. సో నాకు కన్ఫ్యూజన్ ఉంది ఇక్కడ, దేన్ని పబ్లిక్ చేయాలి, దేన్ని ప్రైవేట్ చేయాలి అని రౌట్ టేబుల్స్ ని. ఒకవేళ డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ని పబ్లిక్ చేస్తే, ప్రాబ్లం ఏం లేదు. ఫ్యూచర్ లో ప్రాబ్లం రావచ్చు. ఏంటంటే నేను ఒక సబ్నెట్ క్రియేట్ చేసి ఆ విపిసిలో ఇంకో సబ్నెట్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తే, ఆ సబ్నెట్ ని ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్ చేయడం మర్చిపోయా, ఏదో ఒక రౌట్ టేబుల్ కి అటాచ్ చేయడం మర్చిపోయా. ఇప్పుడు ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ యూస్ చేసుకుంటుంది అది?
డిఫాల్ట్.
స్ఫూర్తి ఏ రౌట్ టేబుల్ యూస్ చేసుకుంటుంది?
Default
యూస్
route
చేసుకుంటుంది.
table.
డిఫాల్ట్ ఇప్పుడు డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ఇప్పుడు పబ్లికా ప్రైవేటా? పబ్లిక్ అయినప్పుడు ఎండ్ యూజర్స్, తెలియని వాళ్ళు కూడా ఐపీ అడ్రస్ తెలిస్తే చాలు, ఈజీగా వచ్చి యాక్సెస్ చేసేయచ్చు, అవునా కాదా? రౌట్ టేబుల్ బ్లాక్ చేయదు, పబ్లిక్ యాక్సెస్ ఉంది, ఎవరంటే వాళ్ళు వచ్చి యాక్సెస్ చేయొచ్చు, అవునా కాదా? సో ఎప్పుడైనా కానీ హై సెక్యూరిటీ పెట్టడమే ఇంపార్టెంట్. సో ఎప్పుడు పబ్లిక్ అంటే డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ ని ప్రైవేట్ పెడితే, ఇన్ కేస్ ఈవెన్ ఇఫ్ యూ క్రియేట్ ఎ సబ్నెట్ అండ్ ఫర్గాట్ టు యాడ్ ఇట్ టు ఎ రౌట్ టేబుల్, దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బి సెక్యూర్డ్. అండర్స్టూడ్? అర్థమైందా?
అర్థమైంది సార్ ఇప్పుడు.
ఓకే. సో ఆల్వేస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ బెటర్ టు మేక్ ద డిఫాల్ట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్ యాజ్ అ ప్రైవేట్ రౌట్ టేబుల్. ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్. ఓకే ఫైన్. ఇన్ని చెప్పిన క్వశ్చన్స్ మళ్ళీ ఏం చేస్తారు తెలుసా, సార్ ఈ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగాడు సార్, అస్సలు నాకు అర్థమే కాలేదు సార్, ఇది చాలా టఫ్గా ఉంది సార్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ అంటారు. ఏమంటే మీకు గుర్తులేదు. ఓకే, అందుకే గుర్తు పెట్టుకోండి. యూ కీప్ రన్నింగ్ నోట్స్, ట్రై టు టేక్ ద నోట్స్. గుడ్. ఓకే ఫైన్. నెక్స్ట్ what we created a route tables. Now I want to create a subnet. Go to your subnets section. I want to create one subnet, right? The range is create subnet. So which VPC you want to create the subnet? Select that. 2 VPCs are there. My VPC. Okay, you select that. So you want to create there. What is the subnetting ranges? Create one subnet called 10 dot. Come down. Subnet name you gave that. Give the name of the subnet as public one. I'm going to give the name of the subnet as public one. Okay. Next. So here you give the CIDR ranges 10 dot. So same, see, within the CIDR range you have to give, right? So 10 dot 30 dot 0 dot 1.0. You give it as 1.0 0/24. You give 24. Okay, select that. Now this is the range I want to give. So 10.30, right? So in that I'm creating a subnet with 1.0 series. Okay, fine. So now I want to select this in first availability zone. Always when you are creating a subnets, create each subnet in different availability zone. Why? Because even if one subnet goes down, right? Means one availability zone goes down, the subnet will go down and the instances in that subnet go down. But at least the instances in the other availability zone, other subnet will be serving the load, right? Serving the traffic. So select it as US East 1 availability zone. All right. Then next, scroll down. Let's create 4 subnets together. So you can click on create subnet and create a new subnet again, but let's create 4 subnets together. So add new subnet. Okay, so there, this is the second subnet. Already we created one subnet, right? Now let's create second subnet. This is public 2. You give it as public 2. Second availability zone is 1B. You give the end and the 2.0. You give it as 2.0. So second subnet with different series /24. So /24 means how many IP addresses? 8 bits. 8, 4, 2, 1, 16, 32. Next 64, 128, 256 we can create, right? So just scroll down. This is one. So there is a huge number, 65,000 we can create. In that, for each subnet we are taking only 256. Okay. Add one more subnet. So create it with private one, the name private one. Okay. Select third availability zone, 1C. Scroll down. So create 10.30.3.0/24. So remember, first subnet 1.0/24, second subnet 2.0/24, third subnet, right? First two are public, last two are private. 3.0, 4.0 going to be public, right? So next, create one more subnet, add one new subnet, create, name it as private 2. So each subnet is going to get 256 IP addresses, private 2. Okay. Okay, so select that. So different region, right? Now create subnet. Click on create subnet. It is going to create 4 subnets. So creating 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 subnet it has created. Done. These are going to be my 4 subnet in my VPC. Now tell me, these subnets are going to use which route table as of now?
Default.
What?
Default. Right.
Default route table, right? They are going to use default route table. Why?
We did not attach it to any route table.
Yes, correct. We haven't attached these subnets to any route table. So that is the reason these subnets are going to use default route table. All right. So now, which is a private route table for us? We have 2 route tables, default and custom one. Which is a private route table for us?
Default one.
Default. Now, as these 4 subnets are attached to a default route table, right, which is a private route table, instances are going to be private instances, right? Private subnets. So now, just for a check, what we will do is we'll try to create an instance. Okay, we'll try to create an instance. Okay, after this, the meeting is going to end in 3 minutes, right? After that, I'll discuss about how to attach and all. Just wait for some time. Let me explain things here. Now, when I create an instance, even the public one is there, right? Public one, I'll create an instance. In the public one subnet, I'm going to create an instance. Will I be able to connect to that instance from my Git bash? Will I be able to connect to that Git bash, to that instance from my Git bash?
We can't.
We
Why
have
doubt?
to attach that.
I am asking one question and you are answering we have to attach. That is not a relevant answer. I am asking yes or no. I will create an instance in public 1. I'll create an instance in public 1, right? With a public IP address. If I create an instance in that public one subnet, will I be able to connect to that instance from my Git bash?
We cannot.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
Yes, we can.
Yes, no, different answers. Okay, cool, no problem. Why we cannot connect? Someone said no. Why can't we connect to that instance from my Git bash?
Still we didn't connect with the route table, right?
Route table. We cannot connect that route table.
I haven't added that subnet to any route table. That is correct statement. But if I don't add it to any route table, it will use the default route table, right? It will use the default route table.
And also not
That is
connected to
private,
internet.
right?
Not connected to.
Exactly. If I don't add any subnet to a route table, it will use a default route table. But the default route table is a private route table. So there is no communication between internet gateway and route table. So it will not allow the communication, to and pro communication from outside world to instance to outside world. Both the communications are not possible. Is that clear, guys? Those who said yes for it, is it clear? Okay. So the meeting will end after join back. I'll show you how to attach the instances to different route tables. I'll show you. Okay. Okay. So any questions? So far, is this clear? Can you all do this? Can you all do this? Without any help, right? VPC creation, internet gateway creation, attaching. Route tables creation, public, private, then subnets creation. That's it. Simple steps. Okay. So that's it. Okay, we'll connect back, guys. Yes.